Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Pay Attention, Please, Hollywood Life's Real Housewives podcast. I'm your host, Chris Rogers.
I'm Eric Tedesco.
We are so excited because we have none other than Gina from Real Housewives of Orange County here today. Welcome, Gina.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
We're so excited. We are both loving the current season of Orange County. Isn't
it good?
It's so good. It's
Yeah.
so good. I don't know. I can't get enough of it. This week's episode, we'll get into this, won't come out till after it airs. So we're totally fine talking about that. But, you guys hit the ground running from the beginning, especially you with your friendship with Heather. So I want to get kind of right into that and just ask you, when did you feel like your friendship started to shift? And why did you feel like she wasn't really making an effort with you?
Well, honestly, it was a surprise to me that Heather was even having an issue at the beginning of this season. Emily, actually, I had a lunch with Emily when we first started filming, and she mentioned something to me about Heather, feeling like I wasn't being responsive or I missed a lunch or whatever. And I was like, my spidey sense went up because I was like, that seems a little odd, So the first time that I even knew that she had an issue was when I was at her house, honestly. That was a very natural response to that. And listen, I care about Heather. So I'm never going to be like, why would you have a problem with that? I'm trying to work with her. I'm trying to now, make up for, I guess, having a busy summer and 6 kids, at that point. And I felt like I was overcompensating and being more sensitive towards her feelings. And then when we were in Montana, it was hard for me because, first of all, Emily wasn't there and she's my vacation wife, and honestly, for me on a level, where Emily is one of my best friends, but also just personal note, traveling, I am scared to be by myself, literally, it just is what it is. So I literally sleep in a bed with Emily everywhere we go. Right. So not having that comfort already was hard for me. And then I was super sober. And all this stuff was coming up with Jen. And really, I just wanted everyone to stop talking about Jen's situation.
Yeah.
But no one wanted to stop talking about it. Shocking, and it did just get to the point where I got so upset. And I think for me, the breaking point with Heather was I actually felt like when she came into the car, although I don't think she ultimately gave me the correct advice for my relationship, I felt like she really was there for me as a friend in that moment.
Yeah.
But then after that, I was just back in the bunkhouse with Jen, who it's not her fault, but that's the person that I'm why I'm crying, and then Taylor, who I didn't really know that much. And she's just up in the house partying. And that didn't feel right. And then the moment that got me was when I was trying to help her shoveling the shit and be sorry if I can't curse, but being
yeah, curse why.
I can? Okay, good. This is really hard for me not to. But yeah, when we were doing that, and then all I was trying to tell her was look, girl, I think you got your eyes closed on this. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't me gossiping. It wasn't me telling her any more information. It's we were all present the previous night before where we all heard Tamra basically admit that she took a shot at Heather's career. Right. And I felt that Heather was choosing to keep her eyes closed on that. And she was basically I asked her if she was mean to me about my career. She said no. I have to take that on face value because she's my friend. I understand that. What she didn't have to do was then go and tell Tamra the things that I was saying to try and help her as a friend after telling me I wasn't being a good friend to her. Right, at that point, I was out. Mm-hmm. And then that's why the next night at dinner, when my relationship and this, came up again, and now everyone seems to chime in on that, I was not having it.
Yeah.
Do you feel validated now that you saw the footage and that Tamra kind of was shading Heather's career with Taylor?
I absolutely did feel validated. And I was waiting for it, what I mean? I was at home okay, it's all going to come down to this. Did she or didn't she? But I was very confident that
I find it
And
so
like my point.
I was just gonna say,
I'm sorry.
funny that like a lot of housewives will often say they didn't say something when they know they were filmed, but is it like a thing where you guys just forget what you said?
Or maybe she was thinking if she just kept, well, look, like if Tamra said it was that way and then I didn't challenge it, it might have played that way, right? It's like maybe sometimes you say stuff and then they just hope that they don't get outed, because so it's like rolling the dice, I guess. Or maybe Tamra didn't remember. She was also drinking, champagne when she was at that lunch. And it's not like, look, it's not like what Tamra said was like super egregious. At the end of the day, she was just like joking around. Like we all like take shots at each other, like whatever. But that's a very sensitive topic for Heather. And the part that really was starting to bug me was she was so mad at Taylor, a woman who she doesn't even know that well. So if you don't know her that well, why do you even care what she thinks about your career? I would be pissed at Tamra, my really good, one of my best friends. If the same scenario was me, Taylor, and Emily, and Emily was talking to Taylor, I wouldn't care what Taylor said about my career, but I would be pissed at Emily.
Yeah, you're going to feel more hurt by the person you have a closer bond with, not the random person, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. So that was like my whole thing is it just didn't feel right. And I just felt like she was misappropriating this anger. And I think that she chose to take it out on Taylor because she didn't want to take it out on Tamra, because who wants to take it out on Tamra,
You guys make some progress in this week's episode, and Heather actually apologizes to you when she hears how badly she hurt you. Is it, should we expect you guys to move forward in a positive direction, or, is more going to come up later that might rock the boat a little bit more? Because your confessionals this season are so shady when it comes to Heather, I feel like. And I don't know if it's based on like what happened here or if something bigger comes up later.
I don't know. Okay. First of all, I'm a little snarky. I mean, I'm always gonna take the shot. I am. I'm a New Yorker, and like I'm always gonna take the shot. I'm always gonna take the dig. Honestly, my best friends that I'm closest with, I make fun of the most. It's just the way it goes. It's almost like if I'm making fun of you, I love you. But certainly Heather did definitely get under my skin a lot this season. And listen, I'm always in the spirit of moving forward and staying positive, but you just can't always help. You can't control other people and you can't control other things. And I feel like Heather struggled this season. And I feel like she was chasing something that she shouldn't have been chasing. And despite our efforts to try and redirect that, she's a grown woman and she's a strong woman and she's going to do what she wants to do. And she did. And I don't think it was in her best interest, but maybe it's a learning lesson.
What would you say she was chasing at the Tamra friendship?
I think so. Yeah.
What it kind of looks like. She was definitely interested in reconciling with Tamra once Tamra signed back on the show, it seems.
Yeah. And I get that, they do have a long history together. And I think that Heather would have expected to have been one of her primary friends and all that. And it's not like I'm faulting Heather for wanting something that's reasonable. It's just, if it's not happening, you gotta let it go, Elsa,
And it was sort of at the expense of your friendship and Emily's friendship with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. I think for sure. And, I'm not so catty and petty that I'm like going to go and cry about that or whatever, but it just was like a bad look for Heather, honestly,
How is Travis feeling about this whole situation with you being quote unquote triggered by Jen playing out on the show in front of all the viewers?
You know what? Travie daddy. He's just so even keeled. And it's like, I don't know. I think I'm more affected by it. Like first of all, I watched that and I don't know. He's never done an interview. I was like, babe, they want you to do an interview.
Yeah, you got a confessional.
Like, what is that? I was like, I don't know. He's like, well, what do I do? I was like, wear this shirt. And he just like shows up and like does it. I had no idea what he said in there, So when I'm watching it, I was like, my God, like I cried, because I'm like, but that is just like what I love about Travis is like, even in that moment, it's not over the top. It's not sensational. It's just genuine. It's like genuinely who he is. He's a good person with a good heart who loves me and cares about me. And knowing that I have that, nothing can affect him or us, whether it's good, like now it's obviously like everybody loves him because he's great, but like that doesn't affect him either. Like it doesn't go to his head. It doesn't change the way he thinks about a relationship or me. We're still just steady as she goes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys talking marriage at all? Because in the preview for next week, we see you guys have a nice dinner, a mention of a proposal. Where are you guys stand with that?
Oh my gosh, I didn't even see that yet. You're ahead of me.
We see the good stuff.
That was such a long time ago. I mean, we always, kick it around. We're very open, as you can see, and we're very practical. And I think that really factors into this. I think it's interesting, right? Because it's like, we're trying to be level-headed. We both married young and obviously selected partners that were not compatible for us. We obviously fucked that up. Our relationship shit the bed. And we know that we're committed to each other, but we're trying to be responsible. We have 6 kids and we're in more of a building our life together phase. I would like to get us, we're never going to split up. We are a family. We are life partners. Eventually I would like to have a wedding, and I would like to spend a bunch of money on a party, to celebrate our love. But right now it's just like not our top priority.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Obviously a lot of your storyline with Travis this season is about, you being triggered by Jen and her past. Looking back now, do you feel like you overreacted a bit, or do you feel like your feelings were validated?
No, I do think my feelings are valid. And I don't think that anybody who has gone through a traumatic experience and then is triggered by something and emotions come up should feel like that's not valid. Like, right? It is valid because it's how I feel and it's what happened. Is it unfortunate that it affected my friendship a little bit with Jen? Yes. But honestly, Jen was really kind throughout that whole thing too. We got each other, at no point was I blaming Jen for my emotional response. Right. Jen did not cheat on me, and I have forgiven my ex for that as well. And I don't look at him like he's a bad person, so it would be so hypocritical for me to be like, Jen, you're awful, but my ex is perfectly fine, and that's not what that was. It wasn't about Jen. It was just about me, and honestly, at the end of the day, it was really a good positive thing for me because I was able to look at something that I didn't necessarily want to look at or knew that I needed to look at. It brought up feelings and emotions that I had been, I think, numbing with alcohol in the past. And I allowed myself to
feel those
feelings. You're welcome that everybody else got to feel those feelings when they do. And I got to process them out. Yeah. And you know what? I think you go through things traumatic. Anybody who's been through anything, it doesn't matter what it is. It's important to not stifle those emotions that come up, I think triggers are actually positive things because the triggers happen. You step on the little landmine. It forces you to feel something. You get it out. And then every time going forward that a trigger comes up, you respond to it less and less emotionally because you're working on kicking that out. And then I think you get to the point eventually, hopefully, where things will always come up. You'll always have to look at that because it's a part of your memory in your life, but you don't have to look at it in a bad way.
Yeah. Well said.
And I'm trying to get there. And I think that what happened in this season with Jen helped me to further that journey along.
And the viewers are learning. Yeah. And the viewers are learning something too, because you're not the first woman to be cheated on and not the last, unfortunately, or person to be cheated on. So.
Yeah.
Right. And at no point did I tell Jen that she should fuck a cheese grater or whatever. So right? Reasonable.
Yeah.
This week we had the napkin throw, which has been teased all season. You were obviously sitting there at that lovely Nobu dinner. I was very jealous of that dinner. What was your reaction to that? Did you think that was warranted for Tamra to do that to Jen?
No. No, I don't think like physical contact of, and I don't care if it's a napkin, I don't care what, like you spritz a bottle, throw a drink. That's not okay. Like this isn't Jerry Springer. I don't like that. And I think it's so wrong because you also are putting somebody in a position where now what is Jen supposed to do? And I give Jen credit because I feel like I've been put in that position before. That what were we in Arizona in that hut where Kelly hit the thing on the hit Shannon on the head, and then she smacked in the back. And you put someone in a position where now what are they supposed to do? You know, it takes a lot of inner strength to not now retaliate and make it stupid. And I'm just not here for that. Like, we're grown women. We can have differences. We can be emotional and dramatic because we are very good at that. But we should not cross physical boundaries ever. It's a hard stop for me. Infidelity, hard stop. Physical contact, hard stop.
Jen is so calm in that moment, which is surprising.
I know, because she's like, namaste.
Yeah.
Jen's a good person. She really is a good person.
She's really good on the show. Like
I think she's great.
Yeah, she handles it really well. She's interesting. She gets along with everyone, it seems like. Obviously, she's, sparring with Tamra currently, but she's remains calm. Like, we are big fans of her, and I like to see your friendship with her grow this week a little bit more.
It is nice. Yes. And she's also like, obviously, I just love that she really understood what I was going through. And I love that we really kind of are, it's so weird, but it's like, we really kind of are bonded a little bit, even though we were on opposite sides of like a really polarizing issue. We found a way to come to the middle and to understand where each other was coming from and build a friendship off of that. And I think that's really cool. And I think that that's something that probably a lot of people in this current climate could look to see, like, you can be completely on the poles of an issue and find a middle.
Yeah.
Well said.
What is your overall thought about having Tamra back on the show? I know at the beginning of the season, you seemed excited. How do you feel now?
I still love Tamra back. It's so good. It's so great. Like, we you know what? We are an ensemble cast, and when you're limping along without one of your pieces, it's hard. And like, this is definitely the first year. I think her break was probably the best thing for everybody, right? Because now she comes back and it just makes so much sense. It's so great. She is who she is through and through. Yeah. And really, this is the first year since I've been on the show for 5 times now, that it really doesn't feel like my castmates. It really feels like a social group. And then there's different levels of that, like obvious, and that's real, right? Like, I have certain ones of those friends that I see on a regular basis. And then there's other people in the group that are friends with my friends, and I have to be around them sometimes. And so I keep trying to be friends. Like, that's very real. So It is what it is. And I think it works, and I'm happy she's back.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence.
I hope she does this until she's like a dinosaur in her grave. I swear. I hope she never leaves.
It's not a coincidence that I think you guys feel like it's genuine, and then the fans feel like this is the best season. It's like, there's definitely a reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy about it. I'm like kind of proud of us. Like, yay, go RHOC.
It's a good squad you guys have right now.
Yeah.
Heather has kind of insinuated when she's been doing press that she feels like maybe Shannon and Tamra's rekindling and their current friendship isn't that genuine. Do you think that they're genuinely friends?
I would agree with Heather, honestly. And I don't even know if Tamra would disagree with that. I think Shannon would probably disagree with that. But you know what I have heard from Tamra, like their fight where they didn't talk and then they had to hash it out at the beginning, that's been a common theme in their relationship dynamic since I've been a part of this. And so, when it's a common complaint that like, you only want to be my friend when we're on the show, and that isn't genuine, and I don't know I just don't know. I don't think that Shannon necessarily does things intentionally, though. It's not like she's like, well, now we're filming, so I'm going to be your friend, and then we're not, so I'm not. I just think she's selfish.
what can we expect from you guys' dynamic later this season? Because you and Shannon always seem to butt heads one way or the other.
Yeah, we butt heads again, both ways, one way and the other.
Next week, we see seems to be some sort of admission about Shannon and John's relationship. What can you tease about that, if anything?
Well, I think you guys all know the outcome.
We know they broke up. Yeah, we know they broke
That's
up.
to today.
I mean, I don't really know because honestly, like for me, that's the way the relationship has always been. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to be relayed to the viewers, you know, but for me, it was not shocking. It was not surprising. It was just standard.
Yeah. And next week is the Tres Amigas reunion. And we know Vicki is going to pop up a little bit more as the season progresses. What can you tell us about Vicki being back in the fold and how do you fit in with her?
Vicki, oh my God, you guys should be so excited. Like, I'm not even joking. Yes, Vicki is so great. I never thought I would say that either, but like, honestly, Vicki came back and like, first of all, she like loved me. I was like, who is this woman? He was like, you can tell really, I think Vicki, although I don't have like I could text or call Vicki, I feel like close enough to do that with her, but we don't have like we're not in the same cycle, I'd say. But she seems really happy to me, like genuinely happy, which is really amazing and awesome for her. And she's freaking hysterical. You know what? She's just so naturally herself. She comes in, she says hysterical shit. She makes trouble just being herself. And it's all incredible.
Yeah.
You want her back full time?
And honestly, there is one thing that happens in Mexico. I hope that they share it. If not, we can get back online and I'll share it after the season's over. Because it was literally my favorite moment of the entire season. Something that Vicki shared about her life and like something that she does. It blew my mind. I was like, what? And I couldn't stop asking her questions about it. I was like, why isn't everybody else asking questions about this? It was just so great. But honestly, I think it was really cool to see Vicki. She always looks great. I've always thought Vicki is so well put together and, you know, like physically and stuff, but she just seems so like happy and it's nice to see that. And listen, I do respect her. She is the OG and like, it's cool. I hope that she continues to be sprinkled in.
Yeah. Vicki likes people, likes specifically women who work. You are hardware. You're an entrepreneur. You're doing a lot of things yourself. You just started your own podcast, Orange Country.
Yeah.
How is that going?
It's so fun. I love every minute of that experience. It's been also like another lane for me to be able to like have conversations and process more feelings. And, you know, we cover a really wide range of topics. So it's like pop culture, mental health, sobriety. You know, we obviously Housewives is a part of my life, but it's not housewife focused. Personal journey, personal story. Shane, my co-host Shane McAnally, is huge in the country world. That's why it's called Orange Country. And he's also gay, so that is a very interesting like tidbit about his life. The episodes air on Wednesdays, new episodes on Wednesdays. You can get it anywhere that you get your podcast. Please subscribe. Thank you. But also like this week in particular, just to tease it a bit, he goes into it made me cry actually this week. You know, it's not like mush, it's up and down, which I like. It's balanced. But he talked a lot about experiences that he just had during, he did like a big international trip with his children. And he shares some stories about that, being a gay man, traveling with his children internationally. And it's very interesting because it's things that you wouldn't even think of, you know, and how people are affected in different parts of the world. And it's very eye-opening and it's good to hear. I think it's like a healthy podcast.
You need more of those in this world today.
Yeah.
You also have your Cara Gala skincare line. Did I say that right?
I do. Yeah, Cara Gala. Yeah. I'm not like as a stickler on the name. It's just because I don't know if you guys know this, but like Cara is a type of orange and Gala is a type of apple. So it's Cara Gala for Orange County in New York, the Big Apple.
I never, yeah.
Yeah.
That goes along with your tagline too.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little heavy on that now, these apples and oranges things, but I think like they caught it, but it is my life and it is the two halves of my heart put together. And that's been going great. I mean, I work hard on it. It's a small business. I'm proud of it. They are phenomenal products. And I'm so appreciative for everybody who has, trusted me and tried it, using it. And that's really fun and exciting. And I just got my real estate license.
I know. We were just talked to Vicki Dubrow about that.
Oh my God. I feel like, honestly, I love Vicki Dubrow so much. Like Max and Vicki Dubrow, you guys don't understand too. Like we went on that trip to New York with Max and Vicki. I love them. I hope Nick takes over the world. I hope he sells every house in Orange County. Like I really do. Like I genuinely adore him. And so I really hope that none of that ever, there's no hard feelings there because I adore those kids. I really do. Heather's a phenomenal parent.
Amazing. Yeah, I don't think they'll be offended by it.
No, right? If anything, gave him a little shine.
Yeah. And he's killing it. I talked to Heather a couple of weeks ago. He's doing really well.
He's got nothing to worry. I'm not worried about Vicki Dubrow. He's got the thing, So he's going to be great. Yeah. But actually, I'm just fingers crossed, I'm about to wrap up my first real estate transaction today. So
congratulations.
So exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's a fun job.
Do we see Gina on Selling Sunset?
You never know.
Stay tuned.
Hold a little house.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Gina, for stopping by. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. And we're so excited to see how the rest of Orange County season 17 plays out. And
so fun. Will I see you at BravoCon?
Yes, we'll be there.
Yay!
Vegas.
Vegas.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Gina. Have a great day.
Thank you guys. You too.
Bye. Thank you.